In this week's parasha, the Malachim come to Avraham Avinu in order to tell him that he's going to have a boy next year. After that, the Malachim are going, where they're going? They're going to destroy Sedom. The Torah says that Avraham Avinu didn't know. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, am I going to conceal this, such a big thing, that I'm going to overturn an entire city, 5 cities, from Avraham Avinu? So what does Hashem say? Hashem says, Ki da'ativ. One of the psukim over there says, Ki da'ativ. Rashi explains, what's Ki da'ativ? Because I know him. It's like when another person sees his friend, he says, I know this guy, I know him, of course I know him. When a person says, oh, I know him, it usually is because, yeah, of course I like him. Nobody says, yeah, I know him. So when the Torah says, Ki da'ativ, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is saying, B'lashon chiba, I know Avraham Avinu and I like him. Why do I like him? Because Asher yetzaveh et banav, he's gonna command his children to do what? To lishmor et derech Hashem, to watch the way of Hashem. And what else? V'lasot tzedakah mishpat, and they're gonna do kindness, tzedakah, charity, and mishpat, and justice. The question is, what does concealing from Avraham Avinu have to do with, because he's gonna do tzedakah and mishpat? I understand, we said, he's gonna do Shamru derech Hashem. He's going to teach his children and those who follow him and his household. You have to go in the ways of Hashem. Why does the Torah dafka single out? Why does it specifically single out tzedakah and mishpat? What did the people of Sedom do? So we'll say a few stories about Sedom. What type of rishut they did. People of Sedom never allowed anybody to walk into their city. No such thing. Person will walk into the city, he's got to starve to death. They were the richest city in the entire world. All the gold was in their ground over there. They had all the gold, they had all the gems, everything they wanted. They were the wealthiest city in the world at the time. But no sharing. And what did they do? If a guy would come into the city, everybody would give him, here, tzedakah, you'd give him. What they did was they used to write their name on a coin. They had a designated coin apparently. They had a coin, everybody would give him this coin, and then when the guy would try to purchase with the money, nobody would sell him food. He would come to the store, nope, this is not acceptable, it's got a name on it. You gotta go get another coin. So the guy would die from starvation. And they would come, and every person would come and collect back his coin. There's the Shloimi, Moishi, whatever, all the thing, and everybody takes back his coins back. They never allowed any gemilut chasadim. One time, Eliezer, the servant of Avraham, Eliezer Eved Avraham, comes into the city, and anybody would ever invite somebody to a party, to a banquet, anything like that, they were never allowed to bring a guest. You were invited, you come. Anybody else cannot come. If you bring a guest, Gzal Din Mavet. So Eliezer knew this. He didn't come. He obviously came uninvited. He comes into this party and he sits at the back. Somebody looks at him and says, tell me who brought you? He looks at him and he's like, what do you mean you brought me? I brought you? If the rumor gets out, this guy is a Chadato Lamut. He's got to get out. He's automatic. It's a death sentence. This guy runs out. He escapes. So he moves on. Eliezer goes to the next seat. The guy looks at him and says, who told you to come here? He says, you did. See, and so on, until every person in this party left. And Eliezer had a whole feast himself and he was able to eat, and he left from the city because they never did any gemilut chasadim. They never wanted to do any kindness. They never had achnasat orchim. They used to have different sized beds. They had a guest house. Of course they had a guest house. We have a guest house. They used to advertise and we had a guest house. Person would come in and he was really tall. He would come in, they used to put him, not on the big bed, they would put him on a small bed. Excuse me, sir, your feet are sticking off the bed. You don't fit. We have to make you fit. And they would cut off his legs, make him fit. And then, the other way around, they would have a person who was too short. They put this person who's short, and they'll put him on the bigger bed. You don't reach the end of the bed. And the Midrash says they would take 3 people from both ends, and they would tug until his limbs mamash painfully would separate until he was just totally stretched to fit the bed. It was a rishut, a certain wickedness, a certain evilness that they had, that they were able to do this to people. There was once a story of Rabbi Yankle Galintzky, Zecher Tzadik Livracha. He was very short, maybe about 5 feet tall he was. And He used to always laugh about it. One time he says that he wakes up in the morning. He was already married. He was in his 30s. He wakes up in the morning and he yells to his wife. He's like, he calls out, he's like, I grew overnight, I grew overnight. She's like, what are you talking about? Nobody grows at this time. So he says, no. Look, my feet are reaching the end of the bed. So she says, she comes, she looks. She's like, I'm sorry to tell you, you're sleeping on the width of the bed. These people had to make everybody fit to the size of the bed. That was when it came to kindness. They also, one time there was a pauper who came to the city. And this pauper, everybody gave him the shtick with the coin, with the name, and he had no food. Lot had a daughter, and she had kindness. And the kindness, she saw that this person was starving, was about to die. So she decided, when she goes to draw water from the well, she's going to put in the jug, she's going to pull a piece of bread, and she hinted to him, come take this piece of bread. So this guy would take this piece of bread, and for a few days she did this. The people in the city saw, this guy's not dying. And not only that, he's not walking around all frail. He doesn't look like he's fasting anymore. He looks like he's getting food. What's going on over here? We have to follow him. They followed him, and they found out that she's giving him, Lot's daughter is giving him food. So, what they did was, they took her, and there's two opinions of how they killed her. One of the opinions, they said they took her into the city, and into the middle of the city, and burnt her alive. People should know, Yamach Shemam. Everybody should know that this is what you do if you're going to feed an ani. This is achnasat ochim. This is a way to treat people. Then there was the other opinion was that they covered her in honey on the entire body, and they put her next to a beehive. And we can all imagine what happened if there was near a beehive. That's the story. That was the story of their kindness that they were so famous for. They also had a horrible court system. Everything was backwards. There was a guy, he once made a lady that was pregnant, he struck her, and she miscarried. She comes to the husband was scared to take her to court. Why? They had a law. If you make her lose a child, you have to give her a new one. So the husband, in order to protect his wife, would have to keep her by him. There was no court system. There was a guy one time who if a guy would get, they had another law, if a guy would get punched and he would bleed, you have to pay for the doctor bills. Why? Pay him your doctor bills. What do you mean he punched me in the face? I'm bleeding. Yeah. If you would have gone to the doctor in order to draw blood, it would have cost you money. Now you're healthier because this guy punched you. Pay him. So one time, Lot is Sarah Imenu's brother. Sarah sent Eliezer, the slave of Abraham, go see how my brother is doing in Sedom. I haven't seen him in a while since they separated. So he goes to Sedom and he sees, as he comes in, he sees them torturing an ani and beating him up. So he says, this is achnasat ochim. Have you not heard of Avraham Avinu? Avraham Avinu did achnasat ochim. He washes them, gives them food, tells them divrei Torah, tells them who Kadosh Baruch Hu is, and you're doing the exact opposite. You're beating this person up on top of achnasat ochim. The sister, the guy says, I don't know you. Who are you? Is he your relative? What is he to you? We don't know him. In the meantime, the guy was from the heat of the argument, takes a rock or a stone and he hits Eliezer in the forehead and he starts bleeding. They start arguing and they end up in their court. The judge looks at Eliezer and he says, pay him money. He says, what do you mean? He punched me. So he tells him, yeah, pay him, because if you would have gone to the doctor to draw blood, he would have charged you money. Pay him the doctor bills. So Eliezer was very smart. He came from Avraham Avinu's house, picked up a stone, smashes the judge in the face and says, why don't you pay him and call it even? That was what he said. That's what they think. What type of court system is this? Everything was backwards. In Pirkei Avot, we say, "Heveh mitpalel b'shloma shel malchut." Pray for the well-being of the government, of the court system, of justice. Why? Because if not for the malchut, there would be chaos in the world. there would be chaos. It'll be impossible. People would just be stealing and robbing, and there'll be no laws. Everything would be backwards. This guy got me upset. Today he's gone. This guy, what's it called? I need some money. He steals. The guy needs this. There's not going to be any. If there's no law and order, there's not going to be. The world would not be able to continue. There would be no existence to the world. The two says in the beginning of Choshen Mishpat in Siman Aleph, he gives an introduction to monetary laws, to the Jewish monetary laws in Choshen Mishpat, from the Gemara, from the Talmud. What are those laws? He says, he says how he talks about the importance of law, of justice, of Mishpat and Tzedek and kindness. And he says the following. There's a contradiction in Pirkei Avot, in the first perek, between the second Mishnah and the 18th Mishnah. In the second Mishnah, Shimon HaTzadik says, Al shlosha dvarim ha'olam omed, on three things the world stands. Al Torah, Avodah, and Gemilut Chasadim. On studying Torah, on Avodah, which is prayer and the Korbanot, and Gemilut Chasadim is on kindness and Tzedakah. And in the 18th Mishnah, Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel says that Al shlosha dvarim ha'olam kayam. On three things the world exists. Lasts. What are they? Al Adin, justice, Al Emet is on truth, Al Shalom, and on peace. It's a contradiction. On which one does the world stand? On which one does it exist? On Torah, Avodah, Gemilut Chasadim, or Adin, Emet, and Shalom? Rabbeinu Yonah asked this question, and the Bet Yosef explains this Rabbeinu Yonah's answer, and he says the following. He says, the world, when we translate the second Mishnah, that it says Al Torah, Avodah, and Gemilut Chasadim, that the world stands on it, it means that the world was able to be created because of these three things. Because there's going to be Torah study in the world, and because there's going to be Gemilut Chasadim, and because there's going to be prayer in the world. And those three things, that's the reason why the world was even able to start. Day one. But in order for the world to continue the everyday life, a regular day, you also need din, justice, emet, truth, and shalom is peace. So then, what does that mean? So I don't need Torah and Chas v'Chalila today? No. They correspond each other. The Torah you need the strength of Torah, Avodah, and Gemilut Chasadim in order to start the world. But for it to continue, you need the branch of it. What's the branch of it? Din is a branch of Torah. You need to know the laws of the Torah. You need to know the laws, the monetary laws, the laws of Shabbat, all these different laws. Emet. Emet corresponds to Avodah. Avodah is prayer. What's Emet? Emet is truth. Emet is the seal of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Everywhere you find Emet is like the number 9. The numeric value is 4, 4, 1. If you combine the numbers, it combines to 9. And the number 9 is everywhere. Different mathematics. You always find the number 9. That's the seal of Emet. It's truth. And Gemilut Chasadim is Shalom corresponds to Gemilut Chasadim. Peace. When there's peace, people do charity, people do kindness, people do achnasat orchim. That's what the Bet Yosef says. But they're really the words din, emet, and shalom. Their translation is justice, truth, and peace. When there's a court, and there's a bet adin, you come in front before 3 rabbis. If there's a court case, and you come and they decided the first thing they're going to offer, what do you want? Judgment, or do you want a peshara? Let's make a peshara. Let's try to come towards each other a little bit. Instead of fighting, a little bit of peace. You need the two. So the Torah needs to continue like that. The Torah goes ahead and says, Avraham Avinu, you know why, in this same Siman, the Torah says, you know why HaKadosh Baruch Hu called Avraham Avinu and says, I know him and I love him. Because, at the end of the Pasuk he says, because he's going to teach his children la'asot tzedakah and mishpat. They're going to do kindness, tzedakah, charity, and mishpat, and justice. 1 second. He learned that from the same pasuk that we're referring to right now. Says the Chida. Maran Chida explains now. Look at the beginning of the pasuk when we said Asher Yetzaveh et Banav. He brings down the Baal HaTurim, the tool. He has a sefer that he wrote on the Torah with Gematriot and Rashi Tevot, and he says the end letters of Asher Yetzaveh et Banav, if you take the end letters, they spell Torah. And the words Asher Yetzaveh on their own right are the numeric value of 600, Gematria 611. Torah is Gematria 611. Yirat Hashem, Yirat Shamayim, which corresponds to Avodah, says the Chida. Yirat, the word Yirat is also 611. And the words Gemilut Chasadim are also 611. He's going to teach his children that the world stands on our Torah, Avodah, and Gemilut Chasadim. And not only that, but then, those are the three roots, the Shorashim. And then there's also the Anafim, La'asot Tzedakah Mishpat, which corresponds to Din, Emet, and Shalom. The three things that have to do with justice. This entire pasuk is referring to how Avraham Avinu says in the beginning you need Torah, Avodah, and Gemilut Chasadim, and you also need justice for the world to continue. The Gemara in Masechet Yoma says that with the Torah and the Chumash never told us what Sedom did wrong. What did Sedom do? Why did they deserve to be turned over upside down? Says the Gemara in Gemara Masechet Yoma Lamedchet Amud Bet. You want to know, and it's explained by the Torah Temimah, Sefer Torah Temimah. You want to know why? Because if you look at the blessing that it says, because I know Avraham Avinu and I cherish him and I love Avraham Avinu. What is he? For what? Because he has justice and he does kindness. You learn from the blessing, and that's why I'm going to be able to bring all the brachot that I promised to him and his children on him. And then if you go look, because it's the exact opposite. That's why the Reshaim were cursed, because they were lacking, and they were the exact opposite of justice, and they were the exact opposite of kindness, and they were Reshaim. So you learn from one of Hashem, and that's why the Torah specified Tzedakah Mishpat in this pasuk. Why does it specify? Because to tell you that that's what they were lacking. They were exact opposite. They were missing Tzedakah Mishpat. When we have on our own everyday, we can't decide our own monetary laws. We cannot decide our own halachic laws, our own Shabbat laws. We cannot decide who we need to go to. We need to go to Bet Adin. And they're going to ask, do you want Peshara? Do you want peace? Or do you want fight din? And and a person can choose. But when you go to a Jewish law, they're going to come at Pi Torah. They're going to come at Pi Emet, the truth. And they're going to judge it in a way to keep the world to continue. There's no pulling this way, there's no pulling that way. And that's what Avraham Avinu, Asher Yetzaveh Banav, to follow the derech Avraham Avinu. When a person comes into, a person has a monetary question and he goes to Bet Adin, and they decide what it is and he follows with it, that's following the ways of Avraham Avinu. A person has to be careful when he's dealing to do kindness, to be able to be careful with all his with transactions. When a person does transaction, a person has to be careful. Is he doing it according to halacha? Is he not doing it according to halacha? The Torah also made its way into the everyday business life. It wasn't just on Shabbat or in the shul, in the synagogue. We come with tefillah and we go to work and we just leave everything behind. And it's very important for a person to be able to keep that in mind. And if we do that, then we're going to get the brachot that Hashem promised Avraham Avinu, Asher Yetzaveh Banav, because Avraham Avinu, we're going to follow Avraham Avinu's ways. Shabbat Shalom.